I built this bike 3 weeks ago, and in that time, a few things went wrong. The problem started when I was on my indoor training. I was just plodding along on my turbo trainer watching a movie, and all in a sudden I felt the saddle pointing upwards, making weird cracking noises, and I could feel it moving basically. So I stopped and I had a look at how the saddle was fixed, and there was the problem. And the problem happened because was the first time that I used this kind of seat tube. So I didn't know quite well how to set it up properly. And then the 2 or 3 rides after that, it still happened. The saddle would get loose a little bit, and I would have to stop, tighten it up, and then it would be fine. Now I think it's settled. The bolts cannot stretch anymore, so I think that's the final position of the saddle. So this is the saddle and this is the seat tube. So as you can see, there is a bolt here that bolts from the top down to here. And I couldn't quite work out how to tighten these up enough to be able to then tighten the back one. The back one is from the bottom, so it is easy, but the front one is from the top. So what I ended up doing is that I tighten up firstly these by hand to a level that I thought was acceptable, and then tighten the back one here strong that would put the tension on the front one. Unfortunately, the tension on the front one became less and less with time and moving around, but I think after adjusting it 2 or 3 times, I think now that's the final position and it seems to be all right. The second problem happened on my second ride out. I was out on a 70k ride and going uphill. I could feel the front of the bike not being very stable, and when I was hitting the brake, I could feel it shaking and kind of feeling a bit loose. So I decided to stop, and to my surprise, the headset was a little loose and the fork, the whole system here at the front. So what happened was that when I built a bike, being my first carbon frame bike, I put the compression plug into the headset tube. And when I tighten it up, I just been very careful to not do it too tight. But what happened is that I've done it way too loose. So when I put the top cap for the handlebar, everything seemed fine. But when I went out on a ride, hit a few bumps, the compression cap slowly came up and released the pressure on the handlebar, making it all loose. Luckily for me, I had my saddlebag with my tools. I then took my multi-tool. I say my tools, it's just a multi-tool and something for punctures. So I had this multi-tool. Luckily, it had all the Allen keys measures for the headset. So I took the top cap off, undid the compression plug, and then done it up really tight this time. When I say about the headset and the compression plug, is what is underneath this bolt for the cap. This is the compression plug I was talking about. When I tighten up this Allen bolt, I was too scared of doing it tight enough. So then if I had to do it again, I know that you can do it really tight. They are designed to do that and to take the pressure. And then after that, you just put your cap on with the bolt and then put the pressure onto the handlebar. And then you tighten up the handlebar and job done. What went wrong there, I think I was way too scared of damaging the fork or the frame. But then thinking about it, they are supposed to be very tight because they need to take a really high amount of pressure to keep everything in place. So now if I need to build another bike, I know that I don't need to be too scared about how tight I need to do the compression plug. I can do it as tight as I can and then put everything in place. After that, the ride was smooth, didn't have a problem with the headset, the fork, or anything. So that was a simple problem to solve. The third problem, which wasn't really a problem, it was with the tires at the back. I have 28 millimeters tires on my carbon wheels, and for some reason the rear wheel was sitting a little bit to the right, and it did rub a little bit on the frame. That is not a problem in itself. It just rubbed a little bit of paint off the inside of the chainstay. But I must say that I repositioned the wheel, tightened it up, and it didn't repeat itself. So that was sorted very easily. And then the final problem happened with the gears. I was out on a ride doing between 35 and 40k an hour, 5k in. I was about to give up, but I was trying to really hold on to the ride. And when I went to change gear, it kind of fell, the cable snapped and it all collapsed and it just went onto the hardest gear and I couldn't change. So in my head, I had to snap a cable, but then when I stopped, I could see that the cable was all intact and I couldn't work out exactly what happened. So this is the outer cable. As you can see, it goes inside the frame here. So it's just a little dirty. And when I mounted the first time, it went into about here, but then I think it was just stuck on a piece of carbon or something. And then with pulling of the cable and the gears, I think it just pulled through here and lost all the tension on the rear derailleur. So what I've done, I put a new outer cable. I made sure it went all the way in to the top, and I tensioned it again, and now the gears, they seem to work fine. It was a little bit of a pain. I had to undo the front derailleur as well because the gear cable goes under there, and in order to undo that, I had to undo the front derailleur as well. But now it works and it seems to be all fine. So these were the few issues I had. With my bike in the first 3 weeks of ownership. As you can see, there were not major issues. Luckily, I had the tools to fix it on the go, mainly. The time that the gears broke, I had to kind of improvise a way to get home, and I only had one gear at the back, which I managed to be the third or fourth cog up, so I managed to make it home safely. My learning from that is to not be afraid to actually tighten up bolts. Of course, if you use aluminium bolts or is like some really fragile parts, you need to be careful. But when a part needs to sustain a considerable amount of pressure, it's normally okay to tighten it up quite a lot. And regarding the gear as well, make sure that you put everything in place correctly. Jiggle it around, move it, push it, make sure it is in place. But other than that, there isn't really anything else I would have done differently. And I don't think any of these were major issues. Nothing that I couldn't fix or at least get home with a multi-tool in my saddlebag, as I mentioned before. Other than that, this bike has been absolutely amazing. I enjoyed riding it with my carbon wheels. I enjoyed riding it with my training wheels, which are the ones that are now mounted on the bike. And I am very happy with it. And if any of you finds one of these frames for sale and is not sure, my advice is to go for it. It's very comfortable, very responsive. Not the lightest of frames and bikes, but it's very responsive, very fast, and very comfortable. I think I've covered all the things I wanted to cover for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to like it and to subscribe to the channel. It really helps out. And leave a comment down below. Let me know your experience, let me know your tips, and let me know if you would have done something different from what I did. I'm done for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.